Ever get that feeling like something's watching you, even when you're all alone?
Oh, absolutely.
Or maybe you've heard a family story so strange, so uncanny, it sticks with you for years.
You know, the kind that makes you kind of look over your shoulder, even in broad daylight.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into those shivers down your spine moments with some truly wild listener tales from the Morbid podcast. We've got stories of inherited magic, hauntings that'll make you hug your pets a little tighter, and even a brush with the law that's more awkward than scary.
I think what I find so compelling about these stories is how they tap into those universal human experiences like wonder, fear, the need to make sense of, the unexplainable.
It's like peeking behind the curtain of everyday life and realizing there might be something else going on.
Exactly. And we're going to explore tales that blur the line between the everyday and the extraordinary. They'll make you question what you believe and how you perceive the world around you.
So first up is a story that feels like it's straight out of a Gothic novel. It comes from a listener named Sarah, and it's all about a family legacy steeped in magic, starting with her great-great-grandmother's godmother, Jenny.
Ah, Jenny. She seems to have been a figure both revered and feared in the family. Sarah tells this story about a bully who tormented her great-great-grandmother as a child. And Jenny, well, let's just say she had a way of dealing with such things.
Yeah, I read about that. The curse, right? Left the bully unable to use the bathroom for weeks.
Precisely. And only Jenny's forgiveness could break the curse.
It's like a push and pull between benevolent and maybe slightly unsettling power.
Exactly. It's fascinating how folklore often blends elements of healing and harm. Reflects the complexities of human nature, wouldn't you say?
For sure. And it wasn't just curses. Sarah's family has stories about Jenny healing animals, having premonitions, even whispers of other unexplained events.
Right, there's an air of mystery surrounding her, but the part that really chills me is what happened at the end of Jenny's life with that mysterious grimoire.
That image of the priest taking the grimoire on Jenny's deathbed, the black shawl seemingly reaching for him as he leaves.
So powerful. And the family's belief that it was Jenny's spirit fighting to get it back, it sends chills down your spine. Makes you wonder what secrets were held within those pages.
Absolutely. It's almost like, regardless of whether it was actually her spirit or just the family's feeling, there was this powerful energy trying to hold on to that book. And then we have Sarah's grandmother, Dolores, who seems to have inherited some of Jenny's gifts. She was a master gardener, could heal animals, just had this way with nature.
It's like a lineage of connection to something beyond the ordinary. And Sarah recounts this incredible story about Dolores healing a bird that had flown into a window.
Right, bringing it back to life almost.
Almost. But it's the stranded car incident that truly captures Dolores's enigmatic nature. Picture this. Sarah and her family are stranded on a remote road in the pouring rain. A stranger appears, seemingly out of nowhere, helps them get the car started, and then vanishes, just as quickly as he appeared. And here's the kicker, he wasn't even wet.
Like a guardian angel. Or maybe something else.
It's almost like there's this unseen world operating just beneath the surface of our reality, stepping in when we need it most. And then we have the shared dreams.
Yeah, Sarah and her mom both dreaming of Dolores on the same night.
Yeah.
It's almost like a message from beyond. Makes you think about those we've lost and if they truly are gone.
Shared dreams, they're fascinating. It's where psychology and the paranormal intersect. We know that intense emotional bonds can manifest in dreams, but the idea of a loved one communicating through that dream state, it's both comforting and unsettling.
Absolutely. It taps into that fundamental human desire for connection, for a sense that even in death, we're not truly alone. Okay, so we've got magic, mysterious strangers, maybe even loved ones reaching out from beyond. Now let's talk about a different kind of bond, the kind we share with our animal companions.
Ah, yes. The unconditional love of a pet. It's a powerful thing.
Absolutely. This next story comes from Carson, and it's about their cat, Mr. Mayer, who had a rough start in life but found a loving home with Carson and their partner.
Mr. Mayer's story is a testament to the healing power of love and compassion. He was missing ribs, had short little legs.
Oh, poor guy.
But despite these challenges, he thrived in their care. It speaks volumes about the dedication Carson and their partner provided.
It's those kinds of stories that just warm your heart, and you can really sense that deep bond they had. But with love, of course, comes the pain of loss. And Mr. Mayer's passing hit Carson and their family hard.
Losing a pet, it's like losing a member of the family.
It really is. And what struck me was the detail about the other cats, grieving. It's a reminder that animals experience grief just as intensely as we do.
Absolutely. Their emotional lives are far more complex than we sometimes give them credit for. But then, just when you think this story is all about heartbreak, we get this sudden shift into the realm of the uncanny.
Right. Full-blown haunting. Objects flying off shelves, that constant feeling of being watched.
It's enough to make anyone's hair stand on end. And the timing of these events, right after Mr. Mayer's passing and during a major life change, it's as if he was trying to communicate, to make sure he wasn't being left behind.
It's like he was saying, hey, don't forget about me.
Precisely. And it's their witch friend who suggests that Mr. Mayer might be behind the haunting, wanting to come along on the move.
And instead of trying to get rid of the spirit, they found a way to acknowledge and include Mr. Mayer in their new home. They took a memento from his grave, and then the haunting ceased. Like they found a way to bridge that gap between the physical and the spiritual.
It's a beautiful example of how our understanding of the paranormal is evolving. It's not always about fear or exorcism. Sometimes it's about recognizing the enduring bonds we have with those we love, even when those bonds extend beyond the physical realm.
It really makes you think about those unseen presences that might be around us, and how we choose to interact with them. While Mr. Mayer's story highlights that intense grief we feel for our animal companions, our next story explores a different kind of loss. The shattering of trust and the realization that someone we loved was not who they claimed to be.
Ah, yes. Betrayal. A wound that cuts deep.
This one comes from Ellie, and it involves a fugitive, a Valentine's Day cake, and a whole lot of awkwardness.
Ellie's story takes us back to that theme of blurred boundaries, but this time it's the boundaries between innocence and deception, trust and betrayal. It's a reminder that even in the age of online connections, our longing for connection can make us vulnerable to manipulation.
Ellie was 17 when she met Tyler online. And let's face it, at that age, it's easy to get swept up in the excitement of a new relationship.
Absolutely. Hormones are raging, emotions are heightened. It's a time of intense vulnerability.
And it sounds like she was so focused on the romance of it all that she missed some pretty big red flags.
The stolen car, the suspicious behavior around the truck purchase, those were clear warning signs. Oh, Tyler was playing the game for sure. The whole truck trade-in saga, all those excuses and delays. It's clear he was trying to buy time.
And then reality comes crashing down in a pretty dramatic way.
The scene where the police swarm the driveway, guns drawn while Ellie's standing there. With a Valentine's Day cake, it's both terrifying and absurd.
Like something out of a movie, with this added layer of teenage awkwardness. And for Ellie, it seems like that experience had a ripple effect. Her younger brother, witnessing the whole thing, it inspired him to become a police officer.
It makes you think about how even negative experiences can have unforeseen consequences, shaping the paths we choose and the people we become.
Absolutely. And for Ellie herself, it seems like the experience was more about learning a hard lesson, about trust, about paying attention to those gut feelings that tell us when something isn't right.
The letters from Tyler in jail, especially the one addressed to another woman, really drive that point home. Ellie realized the person she thought she knew was a master manipulator, someone willing to lie and deceive to get what he wanted. It's a harsh lesson, but a valuable one.
Speaking of darkness lurking beneath the surface, our next story takes us back to that intersection of technology and the supernatural.
Ah, the internet, a breeding ground for both the wondrous and the weird.
This one comes from Ben, and it involves a YouTube video, an interdimensional being, and a doorknob that's about to get a serious workout.
Sounds like we're going down a rabbit hole.
Ben was just scrolling through YouTube one night, and he stumbled across this video that was supposedly a gateway to another dimension.
It's fascinating how technology is changing the way we interact with the unknown. In the past, you might consult ancient texts or seek out a shaman. Now we have YouTube videos claiming to summon interdimensional beings.
Right. And the name of this being, Curlin, it just sounds creepy, doesn't it?
It does have an ominous ring to it. Ben described the video. With sacred geometry and the all-seeing eye. It's almost like the video itself was designed to evoke a sense of awe and trepidation, to prepare the viewer for an encounter with something truly otherworldly.
And then there's that disembodied voice, repeating, enter, enter, enter. It's not just an invitation, it's a command. almost hypnotic.
Repetition. It's a common element in rituals and practices designed to alter consciousness, to create a trance-like state. It's as if the video was trying to bypass their conscious minds and
Hmm.
tap into a deeper, more primal level of awareness.
So do you think Ben and his friend were unwittingly opening a door to something they didn't fully understand?
It's certainly possible. Whether or not they actually made contact with this Bennett is open to interpretation, but the fact that they experienced something unsettling is undeniable.
The sudden silence after the video ended, the doorknob rattling violently, it's the stuff of nightmares, and the fact that Ben checked on his roommates, and they were all asleep. It's like whatever was trying to enter wasn't bound by the laws of our physical world.
It suggests that whatever was present was operating outside of our normal perception, perhaps existing on a different vibrational frequency, or in a parallel dimension. It challenges our assumptions about what's real and what's possible.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into listener tales,
Mm.
I think it's safe to say we've covered a lot of ground, from inherited magic to the bonds we share with our pets, to the dangers of online deception, and even a brush with the potentially interdimensional.
These stories remind us that life is full of surprises, both wonderful and unsettling. They've challenged us to question our assumptions about the world and to consider the possibility that there's more to reality than meets the eye. But most importantly, they've reminded us of the power of human connection, the bonds of love and friendship that sustain us through both the joys and the challenges of life.
And if you've enjoyed our exploration of these listener tales, we encourage you to seek out more of these fascinating narratives. Podcasts like Morbid offer a glimpse into the lives of everyday people who have experienced the extraordinary, reminding us that the line between the ordinary and the uncanny can be surprisingly thin.
So as you go about your day, dear listener, keep your mind open to the possibilities. Pay attention to the synchronicities, the strange coincidences, the whispers of something beyond the mundane.
You never know when you might stumble upon your own tale of the strange and supernatural. Until next time, stay curious, stay open-minded, and embrace the mystery.